Good afternoon and welcome to the May 20th CSM update. Hope you all had a great week. I know I got to meet with many of you up in San Ramon on Tuesday, so hope everyone's doing well. Want to start out with some recognition this week, and normally I pick out a person or two. This time I'm just going to say all the local CSMs. It was great. We went from not having any sign-ups for the process guides from local CSMs to pretty much filling up the list that Jason Gunther put together. So I really appreciate that, and just remember the best way to have the CRMs doing the things that we've identified for them to do themselves is to give them the best practice on how to do it. So it'll be great if we make it our near future goal to knock out the process guides for all the areas that we're asking the reps to do themselves. I've got a safety tip for you guys. This one's kind of more like a resource, but I had no idea on your iPhones and Androids there actually is a little spot you can go to put in emergency medical contact information, and that way first responders like fire and police, they could actually pull that up on your phone without even having to get past the passcode. And so I've sent out some instructions on how to do that on both iPhones and Androids, so you might check that out. I tried it on my phone. It probably took me about a minute and a half. I was able to add in my wife, my parents, a few folks like that. A couple other tips and resources. I sent a quick link to a repository of Energy Insight training videos that the MMA teams have been working on, and they're actually really cool. I'm wondering if we should actually consider doing some of these for the CSM team. So if we find some topics that are appropriate, we might definitely consider doing something like that. The other thing is that I found out on the Snagit tool, which is basically a print key type of tool on steroids. It lets you take a picture of anything on your screen and you can mark it up with arrows, lines, text, whatever. But it also has a video option, and so if you ever are looking at doing a training type of video, I've actually found this might be a really cool way to do it. When you open it up from the start menu, one of the options is video, and it will not record you, it records what's on the screen, and it actually shows your mouse moving around and what happens when you click and type. But you can actually add audio to it and just talk and describe what you're doing. It's a really effective way to make some training videos. So try that if you get an opportunity. And if any of you don't have Snagit, I definitely recommend working with your supervisor or manager to get it. A couple action items. We still continue to see some issues that close without being completed. Remember, all the metrics for CSMs are based on the time you get it to the time that you complete it. And so if you just close things, then they never actually complete. The other thing is that all of these, when they complete, that's how all of the automated messages go to the account reps to say that you are finished with your part, and now it's time for them to confirm resolution with the customer. So please just make sure that you are completing them before you close them. I've attached a report of all the current issues that were closed without being completed. I'd love it if you could go back in and fix it, and I've included instructions on how to do that. The other piece is, I know we've really been talking about adding in labor time. I made a report that shows all the issues that closed that never had any labor time associated with them. Most of you don't have too many of them, but I really need us to start putting that in there. When we show the information to Deb and to others and say, look, our CSMs are spending tons of time on this or that, and it shows that there's no labor time, that's going to be a tough message to sell. So as we look to doing process improvement and otherwise, it's really good to be able to point out the issues that maybe don't occur that often but take a ton of time to fix, or things that occur a lot and they take a ton of time to fix, versus items that come up quite a bit but they don't take much time. So it'll really help us do that. As for process guides, we've got 4 final process guides. Most of you probably saw the drafts, but we've got one for idle facilities, transmission disconnect and reconnect, shut off no pay, and gas load data requests. Those are all final versions that you can find on the work planning guide. And then there's a new draft process guide for the large load interconnection process from Chris Malich. So thanks to him for putting that together. A couple quick reminders. So for all the CSMs, if you're entering issues that you came across and resolving them yourselves, in other words, a rep did not send it to you, please still be sure to choose either the segment CSM or local CSM checkbox, or drop down I should say, and that way we can really put them into the right reports and sort the work that the local CSMs and segment CSMs are doing even if you enter and resolve it yourself. And just another quick tip, when you're opening any report or dashboard, always be sure to hit run or refresh. I don't know why, because when you click on stuff, you'd think it always refresh it, but it's still, and many times you need to hit the run or refresh button. Lastly, a couple non-core updates we're adding to the weekly update. The first is that we did identify that there are non-core customers that are not curtailable, and these are just the smaller customers that have cogens. They're rated on the rate of GEG GNR1. So Jill Adams has been working with a lot of these customers. A lot of the Bloom fuel cells we've seen at Home Depot are a good example of this. And so we are actually going to have to make a lot of contractual changes. Jill's busy working on that sort of thing. In the past, PG&E allowed core generation accounts to procure gas via non-core group, but kind of due to the number of those, it's expanded to where we really can't use that for our core load forecast. So Jill's going to be moving those accounts to CTA or PG&E core procurement. But definitely check in with Jill Adams if you have any questions about that. And then just finally, despite all the crazy things that happen during any given work week, try to celebrate the small stuff, and you'll notice your outlook on life will just be a little bit more positive. So that's it. I hope you all have a great and safe weekend.